Swimming, it was 0.0001 second. Long jump, 0.01 meter. So we are talking about some professional sports where the margins are so tight. So only doing exercise is not going to help you. Rather, our athletes, our sports ecosystem has to understand the technology aspects of textiles. We have seen the global ranking. We are right now lying 71 rank in last Olympics. Again, this is a massive problem statement for us to work on equipment, to work on sports apparel, and help these athletes to make India proud. These are some of the glimpses. Textile today is not just for apparel. It is actually deciding your podium position. So if you look at Michael Phelps, so many medals, they have created this speedo racer. Later it was banned. And he had, the idea of this suit was to reduce the drag of fluid by 30%. So that is the opportunity that textile provides in the sports ecosystem. If you look at Noah Lies, they designed the garment to focus on aerodynamics, to optimize the aerodynamics, and he broke the record and by 0.005 second. If you look at running, they use carbon fiber technologies, spring technologies to help the athletes for marathon. Even if you look at our hero, our national hero, Neeraj Chopra, they work on compression garments to enhance their performance. So you can now get an idea of across different sports vertical, you have different requirement. Sometimes you want your fabric to be smarter, sometimes you want your fabric to be moisture management, sometimes you want your fabric to be designed aerodynamically to reduce air or water drag. Sometimes you need precision, sometimes you need performance control. So across every sports, every event, margins are very, very tight. And textile innovation is no longer an option, but it's an essential if we really want our medal tally to go up. So that is what we are going to discuss. We want to understand the integrated ecosystem which is required to make world-class indigenous product in India through a sports ecosystem. So in textile ministry, we have done a lot of deliberation. Some of those experts are also sitting on the dais. We worked on a SPIRE model. And I really want to give a glimpse of that because our entire discussion is going to focus on this SPIRE model. What is a SPIRE model? Is an integrated ecosystem for developing world-class sport products, completely indigenized by our Indian manufacturer, researchers, and athletes. So S stands for sports demand, really because market is needed. We have a lot of problem statements in different sports, but without market, probably it will not be a justifiable thing. So we need to understand the market and the need or the problem statement. Then we have the P stands for the performance material. Textile gives lots and lots of possibilities in terms of material, structure, finishing. And we need to understand the performance of these materials to optimize the product for different sports. And third stands for innovation hub because size matters, design matters. So without engineering design, the role of these materials will not be achieved to its full potential. Even if we develop the product in lab, what is more important is to go for real athletic testing because our customer is the king. We need to get the feedback for the customer so that we can do the iterative innovation based on the feedback that we receive from the athletes. And the last layer, because with these 4 layers, we will be generating lots and lots of data. So ecosystem intelligence hub is needed to be created so that for any sports specific requirement, we plug and play using AI technologies and the data-based ecosystem. So if we really want to design world-class products, demand, material, testing, translational has to work in one system. To support this justification, we have a fabulous panels, and it has strategically selected. We have Mr. Sunil Jhunjhunwala, Managing Director, Techno Sports. We all have learned a lot about Techno Sports. He's doing fabulously good in activewear. I'm betting very high that one of the Indian brand which is being created completely with the Indian facilities for the entire world. We have Dr. Subra Chatterjee, who is the Scientific and High Performance Director role in Sports Authority of India. It took me a lot of effort to invite Madam here because we are working for them. So their feedback is very, very important. They need to understand us and we need to understand their ecosystem. So Sai has started National Sport Repository System. We would learn more about from Dr. Subra under Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. So it's a kind of digital platform because to develop a world-class product, we really need to understand what training athletes is going to do, what are the conditions they are, what are the humidity that they are facing. So we need to understand their entire practices ecosystem so that we design the product as per the need of the athletes under different circumstances. So that digital ecosystem is very, very important. We have Professor Thomas Grease. He's the director of Aachen University. And I tell you, in textile, if you talk about the techno-commercial institute of this world, Aachen is at rank 1. He himself has done a lot of joint venture with his students in India, doing most relevant market research and market innovations, which can be directly adopted by the industry. So we will learn a lot about how industry and academia collaborate. More than that, we would like to understand how the culture of sports is there in Germany, because Germany is ranking around 10th in Olympics. We would like to understand his feedback on that, how India should grow and create this integrated ecosystem. We have Mr. Jalas Dani, President, Sportscom Industry Confederation, and a prominent industry leader. So the Sportscom Industry Federations actually connects all the sports good manufacturer, creating a lot of sports ecosystem. And we would like to get the feedback from sir on how we can actually innovate textile engineering for the goods of our athletes and coaches. We have Mr. Alok Pandey. He's the incubator, because at the end of the day, whatever effort we make, it should be translated. So Atal Incubation Mission is one of the flagship project by Atal Mission to support startups in different fields. And AIC IIT Delhi is working in one of the areas which is related to sports good. So we would love to hear about the opportunities for the startup in AIC ecosystem. And we have Mr. Vinay Dangi, who is the professional athletes and the coaches for last 30 years. Because at the end of the day, whatever we are doing is for them to understand. So we would love to hear from athletic feedback, how best we can engineer our products. So without further delay, we will be discussing about each of these layers one by one, and we'll try to get some insights of how we can create the world-class sports ecosystem for designing world-class sports textile product for not just for our athletes, but for the entire world. Thank you. So without delay, I would like to start questioning to some of our speakers. We'll have 5 to 10 minutes per speaker, and maybe we'll have some questions from the audience. So I will start first with the market. So when we talk about market, obviously, we need to understand the perspective of industry. So Mr. Sunil Jhunjhunwala, so Technoverse Sports is doing fabulously good in activewear segment, done a lot of value addition in terms of achieving different functional performance, be it UV protection, be it moisture management, be it wrinkle-free. In your opinion, what is your next goal? Because if you talk about a sports apparel, we need different requirement. So how Techno Sports is thinking, what kind of value additions you as a company is ready to take bet to create world-class product for our athletes?
Thank you, Bipin, for having me here, and it's a wonderful morning. I think before I get to what we aspire for as a brand, I would like to brief something about our past and how where we are today and where we want to get to. So we started Technosport in the year 2007. I used to work for Microsoft before that. Did a startup. That time was a simple thought process. Ki all the big global brands, a lot of Indian people can't afford a lot of big global brands because they're very expensive and inaccessible. And how do you make that technology accessible to Indian consumers? And how to build sportswear which is relevant for so many Indian athletes right from the grassroots level. But that time we simply thought ki these global brands, they source their products. We will also source our product, and 5 years down the line we'll become a sportswear brand. It's been 18 years journey, and first 4 5 years we attempted sportswear, but we miserably failed at sportswear, and that's when we realized that sportswear is cutting edge, and if you want to attempt sportswear, uh, it's not important to match the product, global product, but it's important to have an ecosystem which can keep up with the evolution, because the evolution is so fast, and that's why we moved out of sportswear to activewear. The differentiation between sportswear and activewear is when you build a product for a specific sport, it is sportswear, and when you build a product which is for more versatile use case, for the difference between a Formula One car and a regular SUV. So a Formula One car is for the track. It is cutting edge innovation, and those learnings come to everyday automobiles. So activewear is something like that, and we play a very important role in activewear. Currently, we make 3 crore garments a year, and we are growing at 40-50% year on year. So that's the scale at which we are. What we are solving for the consumers is your training wear. So let's say you are doing running or cricket or any sport, you would do training for that sport. That is a very important part. And how do we enhance your comfort, performance, convenience at the time you train? So that's what we solve for as of today, and that's where we are. Now to the question that Bipin sir asked, where we want to get to. In this last 18-year journey, we've understood activewear very well. We are growing very fast in that direction. Let's say, for example, one athlete is training for the gold medal. Let's say Neeraj Chopra is aiming for the gold medal. So he has to train a lot. And we have so many grassroots sport person who cannot afford very expensive apparel. So how do you kind of make this technology accessible using economies of scale, using efficient manufacturing, efficient distribution, and make it available to them? So that if an athlete, for example, I'll tell you how this antimicrobial technology works. It enhances your hygiene. It reduces your chance of getting infected. And India hygiene levels are very poor. And while athletes are training, they keep getting sick more often, because at that sweaty environment, they hydrate, they eat something, and because of poor hygiene, they fall sick more often. And imagine if you're training for Olympic gold or for any a global event or even national event, if you fall sick more often, your training won't be that great. So we are currently solving for that. Now in the future, how do you kind of get into sportswear? That's our thought process, because the world is getting divided. Sportswear is becoming more and more niche, and activewear is getting more and more democratized. So we want to play a key role in activewear when it becomes democratized globally. Technosport wants to play an important role there. But at the same time, the learning from sportswear trickles into activewear, and we want to increase that speed. And that's why we want to enter sportswear, and also aligning with the national objective. How can we research for sport? How can we include the ecosystem from the sports community? How can we get the feedback and develop for that specific sport? We are trying to put a lot of effort and a lot of resources that we have built into innovation for our sportswear, and maybe 5-7 years down the line, we want to make the world-class sportswear in India. So that's the current direction.
So I have a further follow-up question, Sunil, because if you look at activewear, it is pretty broad.
Yeah.
It's not just used by the athletes, but professionals as well. But when you talk about designing a sports textile product, and looking at the sports ecosystem of this country, which is very scattered, federations and institutes working in silos. So what is your approach? What is the initiative that Techno Sports is going to take in next 5 years down the line to partner with athletes or academic institutions? What is the roadmap that you are thinking in your management to take initiative in those directions for developing a sports textile product?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Now, when you spoke about silos, we as a textile company, we are innovating so much in textiles. How can we reduce the weight? How can we reduce the drag? How can we enhance the moisture management? How can we enhance the performance of the fabrics? But we are, solving for a problem that we don't understand. And the athletes, they are evolving every day. Their sport is evolving every day. The bodies and conditions are evolving every day. And once they solve certain problems, they face the next set of problems, which they want to solve, and but they are not able to communicate that to the sports ecosystem. So this is where we think, academy can play an important role by bridging this, and of course data science can play an important role in bridging this. You have new technologies like Whoop which have come up. A lot of athletes are using that. A lot of athletes are now measuring their own performance. So how can we bring their problem statements through academia, through research, to the industry, and how industry can solve those problems and give it to athletes, and how can there be a data loop which gives real-time feedback for the research that we're doing, so that we can, this learning curve of getting into a very high-end sportswear is pretty long. But how can we accelerate that using the new AI technology, data science technology, and how can we, quickly move to, come to a global level? That's what we want to do now. Yeah.
Thank you, Sunil. It's a good insight. Now I move to Dr. Subra. Dr. Subra, you have been associated with SAI. You have met a lot of professional athletes in your career. Do you think they give weightage to textile engineering? And because I was going through a lot of courses of sports university, but I could not see a dedicated ecosystem of educating them the importance of performance wear. How to proceed with that?
Uh, Before answering your question, I'm taking this opportunity to thank you, obviously IIT Delhi and Bharat Tex for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to talk about Sports Authority of India. So just before answering question, I'm just giving you a glimpse of how we are actually working. So Sports Authority of India, I'm a high performance director with Sports Authority of India, and right now 12 years working with this organization. So it is under Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, and it is mainly we are working with athlete-centric model type work we are doing, and 3 pillars are there: coaches, sports scientists, and administration. So I am actually representing sports scientist staff. So my work is to mainly integrate sports science. Many subjects are there. It's not a single subject. It's an accumulation of like 7 to 8 subjects. Grossly physiology, anthropometry, then biochemistry, nutrition, psychology, physiotherapy, so on. So mainly our work is to integrate all this sports science into athletic preparation and training. And more so in 2016, Government of India, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports come up with National Center of Sports Science and Research, NCSSR. This scheme is run by Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. So mainly their task, before that we are working with high performance lab and all that. We are working in silos because SAI has their centers in different parts of India. So we are working in silos. After this NCSSR things come up, so mainly NCSSR role is to work as a hub and spoke model. So the hub is based in Delhi and the spokes are present across India. And not only SAI is working with its centers, but as rightly pointed out by Professor Bipin, we are actually funding to 6 different universities and 5 different medical colleges across India to run specific sports sciences courses. Before that, only physiology might be there, only physiotherapy was taught. But sports physiotherapy, sports nutrition. So sports science specific subjects are actually, this type of courses are run by these colleges. Because we also want in near future, we want some experts directly from the field who can work on these areas. But however, coming back to your question, there is no dedicated curriculum yet developed for sports, textile, or garment engineering and something like that. Although, like fewer topics I am saying, like sports, footwear biomechanics, environmental physiology. These are being discussed into different subjects, but not as a curriculum. Yet now it is incorporated. But obviously, it is a very important aspect, because in the beginning, just Professor Bipin said that we in India have a great potential. And if you see the statistics in the last Olympic, you see 6 of the player has finished in the 4th position. If that can be converted into gold, we could have crossed the 10 marks. That is the status for us. So close finish is there. And with this, after coming back from 2024 Paris Olympics, there were huge meetings, and there were so much gap analysis happened within our organizations that what exactly we are lacking. And you will be surprised to know that everybody in sync, they were saying that it is sports science and research that can make a change. Because at Sports Authority of India, we believe that every marginal gain is very important for elite sports. So now, as you have asked, that there should be some dedicated curriculum, I believe that what is sport textile doing, what kind of innovation they are doing, and that could be integrated with athletes, and taking their feedback in real-time monitoring will be very useful. And this type of courses should be incorporated very sooner or later.
I have a follow-up question, because obviously I have interacted many university in sports, and they are doing a lot of sports science, but the technology aspects was missing. And as you can see, there are a lot of market opportunities lying ahead of us. We are nowhere. We are less than 1% in the entire economical scale of this sports ecosystem. But coming back to the topic, because we, at the end of the day, we really want to develop something from India for the world. And to do that, we really need to understand our athletic ecosystem. I was going through this initiative of NSRS. So help us understand that, how this digital platform could really help to do the product innovation.
Okay. Telling you about a glimpse of Sports Authority, it is running various schemes like TOPS, Target Olympic Podium schemes, then NCOE, National Center of Excellence, and then Khelo India, we are doing competitions, as STC, SAI training centers. So right now, we are running with 24 different National Center of Excellence, and approximately 60 SAI training centers are available in SAI across India. So initially, what we are doing is that we are developing sports science assessment protocols. That was published in the year 2019, and it is readily available in a public portal as Khelo India Protocol. So within that Khelo India Protocol, all the tests with respect to different 24 Olympic and Paralympic disciplines are being framed. And these athletes, once they are registered with NSRS. Now, NSRS is a SAI Digitals platform. So SAI has made this. It's a digital platform where various type of information about athletes are available. Regarding their, suppose their training records are available, their medical reports, their sports science performance assessment data, their day-to-day, performance. So, in this digital platform, actually, it is open to all, for all the sport ecosystem people, like the athletes, coaches, even the academic people also, who are closely working with the sports people. They can register themselves in NSRS. That is readily available with Google Play and all that. So once you are successfully registered with that, you will be getting one unique ID. And likewise, whosoever is a part of SAI, like sports scientists, as we are working, we are also having NSRS IDs. Coaches are also having their IDs, and the athletes also having their IDs. So these athletes are coming every year, twice at least, to us for their sports science assessment. So we are doing their assessment, and then we are actually uploading that data to the NSRS. So it's a kind of a dashboard where performance data, whether it is sports science or from the coaching fraternity, it is being uploaded from time to time. So we can able to monitor our athlete over a period of long duration of time, what kind of changes are happening. And more so important is that not only their performance data, but their injury data are also very important. So injury patterns also we can trace. So this is how the NSRS has been designed. Not only NSRS, we are also making Fit India app that is also readily available not for the athletes, but also for the general population. And right now we are working with Khelo India Bharat Niti Tracker 2025 because all must you are aware that sports policy has been framed last year. So we are also working on with the tracker. So it is just like whosoever athlete, wherever they are training, whichever academy they are, they can actually get registered. And suppose one time they are testing in Delhi and other time they are testing in Bangalore, but everything will be visible with one portal, one single portal. So that is the mission. So obviously, NSRS, if I am saying like that, it is yet to be developed 100%. It is, you can say it is evolving. So regularly, our IT people are taking inputs from sports scientists, coaches, athletes, and they are making constantly changes with that. So NSRS is something which we are taking as a data repository bank for us. So it is not that in due course of time, if the athlete is not part of a SAI, but again, they are working with some private academies, they can also get registered themselves.
I have one small follow-up question because, see, the ambition for NSRS is promising, but looking from the product development perspective, where we really need to understand the variable of textiles, which is enhancing the performance of athletes. So far, from textile scientific perspective, we are very good in structure-property relations. And we want to add another pillar is structure-property performance relations. And to do that, we really need to optimize the variables because see, for the performance of athletes, the background does matter, what he has eaten, whether he has slept or not. So how we are going to judge whether whatever innovations we are doing in textile is really helping? Is there any objective way of doing it? Because subjectively we can take the feedback from the athletes, but does SAI give some kind of insights of designing that training protocols for core development? So instead of getting access to the data, we really want SAI to really help us designing the protocol where we can help in textile innovations and we can find the right parameters which need to be optimized for our ecosystem. So that's how to do that.
Yes, it's a very relevant questions you have asked, and it's a need of the hour actually. Because just in the beginning, we say that every marginal gain we are looking for to convert silver into gold. That is our motto only. So if India is now making a vision of becoming a global sporting nation, so it's not only innovation in sports science and coaching is required, at the same time, all the technologies. It's not only from sports textile, I'm talking about sports textile here right now, but also the track they are working, their environment they are exposing. So everything matters now. So coming back to the discussion, what type of a role or what type of an ecosystem? Because I know the sport industrial partner are making fantastic changes with their innovations and everything. It is supported with the research institutes like IITs and everything. But at the same time, there should be an ecosystem form with sports scientists, coaches, athletes, industrial partners, and the research institutes. And maybe as a sports authority of India people, we can play a very good role here since we have a pool of athletes, not only from one discipline, but from various 24, 25 disciplines we are dealing with them. So we can take feedbacks from the athletes and the coaches regularly about the fit, durability, and the texture, the overall comfort of the sport textile. And as just I'm taking the reference from my previous discussion about NSRS, we can create that feedback into the NSRS also. And that can be readily that can be supported with our findings. our findings mean it should be, their feedback should be supported with objective data of the sports scientists, like the physiological data, the movement data, the injury pattern data, their recovery pattern. Because sport textile is just not a apparel. Okay, it is now considered to be a performance enhancement thing. Why performance enhancement thing? Because sport textiles, now it is so well engineered that it can manage all the stress related to the environment, which is we called as thermoregulation. It is also effectively manage the moisture management thing. Everything like the stress, if we say as a physiologist, I'm saying stress is very harmful for the parameters and it causes fatigue. So we have to optimize the recovery also. In that thing also, this textile, sportwear matters. Even the footwear also matters. So coming back to the discussion, we can take their feedbacks and we can support with sports science data, and that feedback directly through NSRS, because NSRS is the only data. It can be provided to the research institute. It can be provided to first to the industrial partner. They can improvise their design, and that again, the design should be supported with research institute. They can, whatever the new prototypes they have developed, they can send to Sports Authority of India. We can got tested with the athletes in real-time condition. And again, we can give validation, scientific validation to the apparel. This type of a loop we can, if we create, and because at the end, the user is the athlete. Whatever innovation we are making in silos, if it is not reaching to the stakeholder, main stakeholder, it is of no use. So I believe that some sort of loop should be created through Government of India, through Ministry of Textile, through Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. We can create an environment where the innovations in whatever the textile innovations are happening, it should reach to the athletes.
Thank you, Dr. Subra. Now I would like to post question with Professor Thomas. Help us understand the Germany ecosystem. How athletes, academic research institutions, and manufacturer work together. What is the model there?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. And let me start with a comment. If you would like to learn from us, you shall give me a little bit more than 5 minutes. I don't want to take all the time, but it's not set in 5 minutes. I have also some contra opinion against Mrs. Chatterjee, a very clear one. Let me give a short, brief history about one of the main player in this ecosystem is Adidas. It starts all about competition. Sports is competition, full stop. And therefore, you have to create an ecosystem which supports competition. I won't get into the history of Adidas. There is a nice documentary about this. They were two brothers. The one was the founder of Puma and the other one was the founder of Adidas. It's a very nice and emotional video. I only recommend it. But then, of course, this brought all the athletic shoes, the football, and so many innovation came out of the competition between these two brothers. Then in the 90s, it changed. The brothers retired. The business became more commercialized. It was the time when business development, market development was much more important. So there was the typical supply chain emerged, like the flagship stores on the one hand, and the more sports shops, like in Germany it's Intersport, in France it's Decathlon, for example. So this was the time. And then Adidas faced roughly 10 years ago an extreme competition by internet. So new brands came up, Under Armour, and so this was again the point when Adidas has to invest in innovation. How did they do? First of all, they had to create a new campus. It was a former army area, and then they invited world-famous architects to create buildings. And the first building they built was a building for innovation called Lace. You can look it in the internet. It looks from the satellite like a shoelace. This is why it's called Lace. Aachen Architecture, Aachen is the town where my university comes from, built this building. And how is the building structured? The building is structured as such that it's a very open building, open architecture, which creates a lot of creativity. And also the entire campus was built as such. You have sport arenas, you have a 50-meter Olympic lane. I would love to be there because I'm a swimmer and a biker. And every employee is allowed to do as much sport as he wants to. Of course, he has also key performance indicators. This are a little working against that. And then if you enter the room, this big building, it's amazing building, I can say. On the right side, there is a kind of creativity center. So everything is allowed what can be done. And this was actually also the first meeting point with Adidas from our side. So I met the head of this innovation center, and he brought, at those days, this was the starting point of Boost. So bottom line is, it's all about material innovation. Material innovation, and bring it, of course, down the road. So Gerd Manz invented the Boost. This was in collaboration, because Adidas is not a material company, with BASF. And I met him at my colleague, which runs a plastic institute, polymer processing institute, and was sitting on the bench, and he had one of those prototypes. So prototyping, rapid prototyping in interdisciplinary team is one key. Again, this is a kind of competition. And this was a prototype. The Boost is a sole, and what was missing was the upper. At those days, there was the upper. Adidas was under severe pressure. They had no mesh type upper. And we were the one with our textile background, but not textile as a design, but textile as a manufacturing. So especially German engineers are very famous for that production as a product. So we reinvented the circular knitting to make a textile upper. And today, all knitted Adidas shoes are either made warp knitted or circular knitted. This was done in collaboration with the institutes. So this is how they do this. If we go down one floor down, then it's material and how to produce it, but then of course the performance testing. And you find down there every kind of machinery for dynamic material testing. You find high-speed video cameras. They have climate chambers for or those testing devices. This is actually their core facilities. And if you look in the team, and this is a first contrary to you, Mrs. Chatterjee, the team is full of nerds, single discipline nerds. There is a nerd for simulation, there is a nerd for elastomers, there is a nerd for biomimetics. Because if you create a master for everything, the only outcome will be that they will be event manager. If you want to work interdisciplinary, you have to be best in your class, and nothing behind. But you have to bring those different characters together. So Toyota management principle, design thinking, this kind of things, bringing people, excellent people in every discipline together is the key, not making a general sport engineer. Clear message and clear recommendation. The second thing is, and then they have top-notch equipment and invited the top-notch researchers to work with them. So a kind of basically open innovation. But next chapter, to keep it short, is when it comes, because you said, Mr. Bipin Kumar, you said how to win the Olympics. This is a different part. If you enter right, you make excellent sport goods. If you enter left, you make Olympic winners. This is a totally secret department. Not even me have seen this department, because sports is like war. And there is no place for an open database. If you want to win a sporting game, you shall never ever talk about your secret and your strategy before you win the world championship. Afterwards, maybe you can talk, but not before. And also, this is Adidas. This is a part of the story where athletes' gear is developed when there is the chance to involve a brand. This is good for shoes, and so on. If Germany is want to win other sports where there is no public interest, Then we have in Cologne, in Bonn, an institute run by the federal ministry dedicated to develop sport gears like bobsledges and what on, because there is no big market for bobsledges at all. So this is a public state duty to develop this gear. And again, we, Bipin Kumar and me, we are obliged to publish, perish or publish. They don't publish. You will never find a publication of the Sports Institute in Bonn, because they have to win their only key performance indicator to win gold medals, not to win publications. So this is the sports, and then there, of course, we have the sports university in Bonn and so on. Coming back to the sport as a market, because it's two layers. The one is how to win the Olympics. This is no public front-end discipline. The other one is how to create a market. And there was a funny saying when I first entered Adidas. I asked them, because at those days they acquired also sports and different kind of, before they were very much in football, in running only. In the 10, 15 years ago, they acquired all different other sports sectors. And so I asked them, what is your future perspective? What is your strategy? Which sector is for you as Adidas, as a company, the most important sport? Do you guess which one?
Running.
Another one? No?
Running.
No? 80% is barbecue, because the most Adidas customer buy sport gear not to make sport. Think about that. Thank you very much.
Just I want to add something. Just now, as I just say about NSRS, don't get me a wrong information. It is not an open platform where everybody can see their data and everything. Yes, it is an open platform. You can update your data, but only the high performance manager of each sport has the access to see each of the data. It is not available. All the data are not available to each and everybody. As just in the last year, we did our MOU with IIT Delhi. They can access to some of our areas. So MOU things need to be done to have all the access to the data. It's not like it is an open platform. You can just register yourself. And we can also, as a sports scientist, we can upload our data. But at the end of the day, the dashboard and everything, if it is, at one single modification, will be made by the high performance manager of that respective sports. Just for your input, because I'm saying on a public platform, so these information will, I suppose, it should be percolated to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Grease. Amazing insight. Sports is a war. So we have to play our Dhurandhar style to win the war. So anyways, I think very nice insight. Now we move to our next speaker, Alok Pandey. He's running Incubation Center AIC at IIT Delhi. So Alok, you are sitting in Haryana.
Yes.
Haryana is producing top athletes of this country. I think most of the medal tallies is coming from Haryana. So let's have a huge round of applause for Haryana ecosystem. So, Alok, you are running Incubation Center. What are the changes that you are observing so far in field of sports gear? What are the type of entrepreneurship that you are getting in your Incubation Center? What are the facilities that you are providing? What is your vision as an incubator to go ahead?
So, first of all, the major change in last 1 decade is we are crossing 2 lakh startups. And now India is focusing on the deep tech startup sites. So it's a major change, and I have shared my opinion on different platforms if we go for the sector wise. So I have talked about a lot in the semiconductors. India is doing the semiconductors. We are talking about energy, climate and sustainability. We are talking about the AI. But that's the major and biggest change in last 1 to 2 years. We are talking about the sports tech, or specifically is the role of the technical textile engineering in the sports technologies. So that is the biggest change in last 1 to 3 years. We have received a lot of innovative ideas to support athletes and coaches. So that is 2 things. I love to connect 2 to 3 speakers. As Sunil ji said, how do we diversify? That is the top point for the manufacturer side. how do we uh, provide the resources to the athletes and the coaches? How do we involve much more as a manufacturer to diversify the products? So as an incubator journey, that is very interesting journey because we are the center point nowadays. Why? If we see the incubator journey or as the innovator we want to support, there is the 4 phases that every innovator as a startups, they have to pass in 4 phases. The first is the problem identifications, that is very much important. Second part, after the problem identification, the second phase for them is how they can basically develop the prototype to convince the investors, the governments, and the researchers and the scientists and the professors like IIT Delhi, we want to take your supports. The third phase, after developing the prototype, the biggest phase is to do the pilot and validate the product, where the industries come into the picture like Sportscom and the near sitting, the professor and the scientist and SCI and other centers. And the fourth phase, where they want to do the market access and they want to go to the growth phases. For the phases, if we see very clarity, just professor tell the interdisciplinary. The interdisciplinary approach is very clear because we have seen this. A lot of ideas we have received on our incubation to take the support of the incubator because of the center point we have, or we are crossing all the 4 phases. We have a strong network in Haryana because in IIT Delhi, there is the extension campus in Haryana in Sonipat. It's a pure research park. No academic is there, but all the research activities we are performing in the Sonipat campus of the IIT Delhi, where the sports university was here in front of us. Sai center is the near about the Kundli and the Ballabgarh side. So we are the center, and the government of Haryana is more aggressive to support the athletes and coaches. So the technology and the athletes problem is very different. Maybe athletes have some of the key problems, coaches have seen their similar challenges, but it is not mandated that they have to create some technologies. But the engineering side, the engineering graduates, the engineering students and the innovators can produce the technology to support the athletes and the coaches. So they have a different kind of supports at the Atal Incubation Center, which we are providing. So that is one thing, we can create the interdisciplinary courses from the SCI, and we can integrate to some courses to the engineering graduate side, so that the more engineering students and the innovators can understand the specific challenges of the athletes and coaches, and on behalf of that, they can create the technologies to support the athletes and coaches. That is the second benefit point. They can get the data, they can get the feedback from the athletes and coaches, they can revise or improvise their product development side, or they can enter into the market and access, or they can directly sell those technology to the manufacturer side as well. As the biggest example is in front of us, the Spolin Ventures. In last 1 to 2 years, we have supported in all the phases of the Spolin, where they can integrate the shooting equipment over there. So we have received the applications, a lot of the performance enhancement side, general fitness solutions. The traction is diverting to the problem-specific solutions, is athlete-specific solutions, and the performance increasing solutions over there. So in the 4 phases, we are supporting all the innovators and the startups, and we integrate, we connect to the sport manufacturers, as well as the scientists, as well as a center, different centers from where we can do the pilot and do the research over there. We can validate their product market fit or not. And definitely with the professors like Professor Vipin from IIT Delhi, those are sharing the insights and a move from the bottlenecks the innovators or startup founders can be stuck at particular points.
Okay, thank you, Alok. Now I move to our main customer, Mr. Vinay ji. आपने बहुत काम किया है स्पोर्ट्स टेक्सटाइल में, हैट्स ऑफ टू यू. मुझे आपसे ये जानना है, बिकॉज यू आर फ्रॉम हरियाणा सर, काफ़ी आप ट्रेनिंग सेटअप करते हो, बहुत सारे एथलीट से आपने किया, अभी आप अपना स्टार्टअप भी चला रहे हो. तो अभी हमारे प्रोफेसर साहब ने भी बोला कि काफ़ी सीक्रेट्स होते हैं, डेटा शेयर नहीं किए जाते हैं. मेरे 2 क्वेश्चन है. पहला, डू यू थिंक कि टेक्सटाइल प्ले करेगा इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल? अगर करेगा तो इसको कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करें ग्रास रूट से, बिकॉज यू हैव कम फ्रॉम द ग्रास रूट, यू हैव सीन द चैलेंजेस. अभी हम अपने एथलीट्स को अपनी बेसिक फैसिलिटीज़ नहीं दे पा रहे, कैसे काम करें हम?
सर सबसे पहले तो ये अवसर देना और यहाँ पर बुलाने के लिए आपका धन्यवाद. ये 30 साल का जो मेरा कैरियर है स्पोर्ट्स का, 10 साल एज ए प्लेयर और उसके बाद एज ए ट्रेनर, मेरी ओपिनियन तो ये है कि अगर प्रॉपर
थोड़ा सा ऊपर,
अगर प्रॉपर क्लोथिंग नहीं है तो प्लेयर को प्ले फील्ड में जाना ही नहीं चाहिए. तो टेक्सटाइल अपना यहाँ पे रोल प्ले करता है. मैं जैसे आपने अपने प्रेजेंटेशन में भी बताया कि किस तरह से 0.1% भी फ़र्क पड़ता है जब एथलीट दौड़ता है या परफॉर्मेंस देता है. मैं 3 एग्जांपल यहाँ पे बताऊँगा सर आपको. रनिंग इवेंट्स, एथलेटिक्स के रनिंग इवेंट्स में एरोडायनेमिक और लाइट वेट वियरेबल जो अपैरल्स हैं वो कितना बड़ा रोल प्ले कर सकते हैं. सेकंड एग्जांपल है सर रेसलिंग का. अगर प्रॉपर फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी के बगैर रेसलर ग्राउंड में आ जाता है तो वो अपना बेस्ट परफॉर्मेंस दे ही नहीं सकता. इसके अलावा तीसरा मेरा एक और यहाँ पे पॉइंट है सर कि रिसर्च एंड इनोवेशन की कहाँ पे ज़रूरत है. कुछ स्पोर्ट्स ऐसे छूट गए हैं पीछे, जैसे बहुत लोगों ने यहाँ पे नाम भी नहीं सुना होगा फेंसिंग का, हिंदी में तलवारबाजी बोलते हैं उसको. सर 48 मेडल है ओलंपिक्स में. फ्रॉम द 1896 जब से मॉडर्न ओलंपिक शुरू हुए हैं हम लोग जानते भी नहीं हैं उसके बारे में. भवानी देवी करके एक ही सिर्फ एथलीट का नाम आता है. सारे जो उनका उनकी यूनिफॉर्म है, उनके जो खेलने वाले इक्विपमेंट हैं, सब कुछ इंपोर्ट होता है. यहाँ पे शायद मिनिस्ट्री रोल प्ले कर सकती है कि इस तरीके का स्टार्टअप जो यहाँ पे काम करना चाहता है, इस सेक्टर में जो काम करना चाहता है, उसको शुरुआती सपोर्ट अगर गवर्नमेंट से मिलेगी तो वो शायद उस तरीके से सस्टेनेबल बन पाएगा और इंटरनेशनल बाउंड्री को पार कर पाएगा. ये मेरा थोड़ा सा ओपिनियन है इस सेक्टर को लेके. ठीक है सर.
I would like to add one question, one opinion mine. That is the fencing. That is the way. That is our vision as an incubator is, because we call the coach. Those are trained to the students in the fencings. We call them. We have a long discussion of 4 to 5 hours continuous. They came up with all the equipments. What are the equipments are used by the as athletes they are using. All equipments are imported from the different countries. You see 50% of the sports become in that particular sports is the textile, from the textile. 2 jackets are there. Athletes wear 1 jacket, or then after they will wear another jacket that is purely electronics. Once they will play as a fencing, as a war, so one equipment which touch on the jackets, electronics jacket side, the count will be increasing. So we fetch out a pure engineering problems. Engineers can solve easily that problem. Both the applicant can combine into one. The sensor integration in the textile part is the important area, where a lot of innovators come. They want to integrate the sensor in the textile fabrics in the. Second is the carbon fibers. Where the sports materials are becoming in India. So we are in discussion in this particular phase also. So that is the problem identification, the major challenge in India, or that they can solve easily with sitting with the coaches and at least in the isolation mayor for long-term side from the 5 to 6 hours continuous to understand the sports. The 48 medals is the biggest medal. As a lot of sports in India are there where there are a lot of medals available. If India play a part is a major role, they are able to create technologies, low-cost technologies on the grassroots level. All the trainers can access all these equipments because after a certain level, the athletes can access all the resources. But on the ground root level, where the athletes they are starting their journeys, if low-cost solution they will get, low-cost technologies they will get, or they are trying to play, they are trying to train on that particular part, so they are possibly increase the medals in the different sports sectors over there. Okay. So that is where the incubator, as an incubator, we are playing the role.
Thank you, Alok. I think there are many areas where lot of innovation has to be done. Now we come to our last speaker, Mr. Jalas Dani ji. He's the president of Sports Cum Industry Confederation. Sir, सबको बैठा दिया. Now you have to do the closing remark. कैसे काम करें? What are the support system that sports can give to all of us? And what are the model which you have there? Because it's a flagship project and by the government when you are sitting in Gujarat, which is going to be the hub of Olympics ecosystem. Help us, guide us.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank the Ministry of Textiles, especially Aarti Kanwarji and also Bipinji. I think there's a lot of good work that is happening at IIT Delhi, and I think we should give him and his team a round of applause for the kind of work that they are doing. So I'm here in various capacities. I'll just take a few minutes to close this session. First and foremost, I am a proud father. I am an athlete son who is going to go to the Commonwealth Games. He is going to represent India in 2 weeks as far as table tennis is concerned. So I have seen the journey of an athlete very, very closely as far as what are the challenges. I just wanted to understand, room में जो लोग हैं, ज़्यादा manufacturers हैं, support system है, क्या है? Just समझने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. आप Many of you are manufacturers in the room for sporting goods, textiles. Are you researchers, students, startups? Okay. So I think Bipin ji ne दो सवाल पूछे हैं. So first and foremost, for years we have been known as a manufacturing destination, but the next phase has to be about designing, innovating, and owning intellectual property. We heard that from most of the panelists here. We need both. We need the hardware and then we need the software because that's how we will succeed. In sports textiles, the biggest opportunities are in performance fabrics, lightweight, moisture management, temperature regulation, compression wear, sustainable materials, and smart textiles embedded with sensors. These are the areas where global demand is growing rapidly and India has the manufacturing capability to compete. On the sports technology side, there is a tremendous potential in athlete performance analytics, wearable technology, AI-driven coaching, injury prevention, fan engagement, and grassroots talent identification. But innovation doesn't happen in isolation. I think that was your specific question. Startups need access to athletes. We heard about that also from ma'am. Coaches and real-world testing environments. Industry can provide manufacturing expertise and market access. Investors need to be patient because sports innovation often takes longer than a typical technology startup to commercialize. I think something all of you as entrepreneurs in the room know. Government can play a role of an enabler by supporting R&D, testing infrastructure, and procurement opportunities. If these four stakeholders, industry, startups, investors, and government work together, India can move beyond being a consumer of global products, because unfortunately that's what we are just now, to becoming a creator of world-class sports solutions. On the second query that you had, Bipinji, the biggest hurdle for any startup is not innovation. I think all of you know that. It's validation. A great product can fail simply because it never gets the opportunity to be tested in a real sporting environment. That is why the structured pilot programs are so important. When startups work with sports federations, academies, we heard about athletic wear, leisure wear, what is the fine difference from the first speaker itself. They gain performance data, customer feedback, and most importantly, credibility. That makes it much easier to attract investors. The second requirement is collaboration. Startups bring fresh ideas, industry provides manufacturing expertise and market access. Research institutions like IIT Delhi can provide technology, with government playing an enabling role, and we have Sai here. testing infrastructure, and opportunities for adoption. At Sportscom, we are already seeing encouraging progress. From our members such as Shiv Naresh and Baller Athletic are working on next generation sports apparel and exploring smart performance-oriented clothing solutions. These are important early steps towards building an indigenous innovation system. Through initiatives like Giving Wings to Dreams, Sportscom is bringing together startups, manufacturers, investors, academia, and policymakers on one platform to accelerate innovation. If we can consistently connect innovation with industry, funding, and market access, India can become not just a manufacturing hub, but a global innovation hub for sports textiles and sports technology. This is, Bipinji, just the two specific questions you had. I'll just take 2 more minutes. I represent DPIIT, which is the arm of Commerce and Industry Ministry, with an initiative called SCALE, which is the Steering Committee for Advancement of Local Manufacturing and Exports. This is an initiative which, again, where all the PLI schemes have been launched. And 18 schemes have been launched so far. Unfortunately, none has been launched as far as sporting goods and gym equipment is involved. So we are working very closely with Niti Aayog, and I would encourage all of you as startup entrepreneurs to walk up to us and partner with us so we can give better data as far as what it takes to make in India for the world is concerned. That's the only way we can achieve the Atmanirbhar Bharat goal. The second hat I wear is I'm the chairman of NABIT, which is the National Accreditation Board for Education and Training, which is part of Quality Council of India. Here, again, sector by sector, shop floor engagement is designed to identify and closely work with the kind of quality gaps that are here today. I think that's an area of weakness we know as a country. So we definitely need to work on high performance sports textiles that are high value add and innovation led. And we heard that again from Sunilji and others on the panel. Also, if you look at the hard data, the industry size is 700 billion globally, and apparel and footwear, because we have talked a lot about apparel, but footwear also is where technical textiles go in, as all of you know, account for 70%, with equipment only 20% in a $700 billion industry. And this is projected to grow at almost 5% to 1.2 trillion by 2036. So the growth is not just structural, but it's also cyclical. Rising fitness awareness, growing disposable income, and a determined government. If you see the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports budget, 1,000 crore for Khelo India, a 130% increase in 25-26. A further 500 crores is earmarked for dedicated sports good manufacturing scheme. This is a number most of you in this industry know was unthinkable earlier, but that's what is at play now. So would encourage you to come up with ideas how we can avail of this money. Moisture wicking, compression and UV protection, and I think was already identified, cricket, badminton, football, yoga are the kind of sports that are attracting national participation. And 38% of sales today in India is online. So distribution disadvantages are going away for startups, which again is a big game changer. We are also working with the MSME as part of QCI to spend 30 to 50 lakhs every year navigating overlapping certifications like SIDEX, Okiotex, GOTS, RAP, SA800, each on its own 4 to 6 month timeline is not wise for the industry. So again, we want to work with all of you to see as NABL and NABCB to how to guarantee quality instead of merely duplicating processes. So I would just encourage you that circular manufacturing, recycled material, water efficient production and responsible sourcing are no longer optional. They are fast becoming the benchmark of global competitiveness. So when an Indian athlete stands on a podium at a medal ceremony as we host the Commonwealth Games and hopefully the Olympic Games, it's not only going to be about the efforts the athlete and the coach puts together, but it's also the work of scientists, engineers, designers, entrepreneurs, and manufacturers. That's how I think we'll bring Indian sports to the world through textiles. Thank you.
Thank you, Jalajji. With this, we are ending this session, but there is some feedback that we want to give. We keep doing a lot of panel discussions, but what is the actionable items that we should do? So there is a small announcement that we would like to make today. This kind of panel discussion was not just thought 1 month before. We have been working for last 1 to 2 years. Personally, I have traveled to multiple sports university incubators, SAI. IIT Delhi has signed MOU with SAI. IIT Delhi has signed MOU with Arcane University. AIC is sitting with us. One of our startup is also sitting with us. What was the missing link was the industry. तो पकड़ के लाए हम लोग, छोड़ना नहीं है. So today we are formally signing the MOU with Techno Sports to make world-class sports textile product for our athletes and for the world. So Sunil ji and we have Jalaj ji in presence of Sportcom, which is the flagship initiative of the government. This is one of the initiatives that we want to take in the field of textile. And we'd like to have full support from Ministry of Sports, SAI, Ministry of Textiles, to make this a success. Thank you. Let's give a huge round of applause to all the speakers. So I must tell you, last week I was in Tirupur and Surat. We both didn't sleep the whole night. We were traveling with all vendors and all ecosystems, labs. We had a lot of deliberations, not the first time we are meeting. They are doing fabulous job. If you are athletes, if you are textile researcher, you must go and visit Techno Sports. I have a huge ambition for Techno Sports. I can clearly see this Techno Sports brand is going to be the flagship brand of India for the world. And what ambition Sunil has given to democratize the entire innovation of textile for the sports ecosystem is fabulous. So hats off Sunil, and it's a privilege to be a part of your team. And, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we please fill in a roaring round of applause that may fuel and give air under the wings of this aspirational and inspirational flight that the people here are exemplifying. Our gratitude abound to the distinguished panel members, the speakers, for their truly insightful, inspiring, and enriching deliberations that truly add more depth and meaning and admiration to the fact that how a sports textile is a rich tapestry of research, innovation, industry, and entrepreneurship. More power to you all. With that, we draw curtains to this session. Thank you very much for your time and presence.